It's Lisa from Been There, Got Out. Tracy got booted out of our live interview when we were talking about dealing with your ex's financial infidelity. Here she is. Let's hope up our interviews. Ugh. Anyway, we I was just saying for those of you who haven't Tracy, turn your camera around. For those of you that don't don't know who Tracy is, if you missed the whole first part, Tracy, you want to quickly introduce yourself again?
Hey, I'm a forensic accountant. I do fraud investigations, and I created the Divorce Money Guide to help ordinary people sort out the money issues in their divorce. And Instagram is really screwing with us today because I can't see you. I can see myself, but I can't see you, and so it's very bizarre.
Okay, I've been through that multiple times with them, so we're just going to ignore
Correct.
and we're just going to keep going. So we talked already about financial infidelity and different ways that people think that they're that they're still good human beings even when they're lying by omission, and the
Right.
ways that they do that. We talked about the blame and shame that people have about why didn't I see this sooner? The whole idea of hiding assets, especially in my audience's community, and people justifying it and some common justifications that you should be listening for. Tracy got into some red flags of fraud already. So all of this is stuff that's on our part one that I just posted. And then five, or actually in her book, which I'm going to hold up here, which you can't see me doing, Find Me the Money, there are 5 different thieves. And she talked about a couple of the thieves during divorce. And now we're just getting into some of the mistakes that people assume regarding divorce and money. And Tracy, can you repeat the one that is the number one mistake that people do, which really affects people in our community?
Yep. And that is agreeing to a settlement in the divorce before you have all the information. So you are missing account statements, you are missing disclosures from them. They haven't filled out their financial disclosure form accurately or completely. There are questions you have asked about assets, about money moves, and you don't have the answers. But you are settling the divorce because someone's putting pressure on you, because you want it to be over, etc. And I always tell my clients, we don't want to unnecessarily drag out the divorce. However, you've come a long way in this. You've done a lot of work. Let's not settle too early. Let's wait until we have the rest of the information, because there's only one reason why they're hiding information from you, and it's because they want to cheat you in the divorce.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the title of one of our interviews that we did with a divorce attorney a couple of years ago was how important it is not to approach settlement from a point of desperation. And I feel like one of the things that Chris and I do with our clients, especially recently, is focus a lot on learning negotiation techniques and understanding that just because someone makes you an offer doesn't mean it's their best offer at all. Often it means it's their worst offer. That's the worst that you would get. And so there's always the potential to do better. And certainly nobody wants you to drag out a painful divorce. And there's something called the cost benefit analysis, where you consider how much is it going to cost me, not just in money, but in my time and energy to get what I'm actually going for. And that's something for individuals to do with their coaches and lawyers and forensic accountants and their other, whoever's on their team of support. But it is really important to understand what you're doing, because we know that first agreement is the foundation of your divorce. It is very hard to get things modified, especially in terms of money, right? You want to talk about that?
And when you're working with a divorce attorney who says, let's just get this agreement signed, we can go back later and get, parenting time modified, or we can go and get support modified. Oh gosh, no.
Right.
Get it right the first time, because it is so difficult to get things modified later. The very least, it's expensive. Sure, your state might have laws that are favorable to getting the parenting time changed or getting the support recalculated. However, it's going to cost you time and money to have that done. And so doing it right on the front end is really important.
Yeah, and with modifications in general, the average we see is a minimum of 18 months to 2 years. And I cannot count how many clients come to us and say, I signed this agreement, I really didn't want to. My own lawyer was pressuring me to do it, and I want to change it. And I'm like, probably not right away. You can't. You
And
can't.
some states even have that you can't go back for a certain period of time, that you can't even file anything or try to reopen it. I like to remind people that your attorney works for you. So yes, we hire attorneys because they know the law. They have a lot of knowledge, not only about the law, but about how things really go in court. So they can say, well, our state law says this, but here's how it usually shakes out in court because this is what judges like to see or don't like to see. So it's important to, lean on the expertise of your lawyer. However, they still work for you, and they should not be pressuring you to take a deal that's not a good deal or that you're not comfortable with. So if you've got an attorney who is saying, let's just get this done, let's just get this done, the question is, why? And then you're telling your attorney, I'm concerned about this, this, and this, and it seems like I'm being pushed to do something and I'm not comfortable with it. Why am I being pushed to do this? And so make your attorney help you understand, justify why this is a thing. And a good attorney will say to you, here's the deal. State law says this about alimony. Here's what they're offering. I know that judges usually won't give you the maximum, and here's why you probably wouldn't get the maximum. So this alimony is a good deal, and that's why I'm encouraging you to accept that. They should be able to articulate why they're pushing you.
Yeah, and the thing that I find with our clients, all of whom have come out of abusive relationships, both men and women, they find it very hard to advocate for themselves, even
Yes.
with even and especially with their own attorney, because people assume my attorney is my ally and my attorney is my advocate. We have a client right now who herself is an attorney. We have a lot of attorneys that are clients, and chose an attorney who felt really was sympathetic to her and completely took advantage. And she spent a lot of time feeling a sense of betrayal because she's like, I trusted this lawyer. Like, I'm a lawyer. I believe in justice. What kind of lawyers do this to other people, especially people like me, when this lawyer knows me? We have a friend in common. She's seen all of my evidence of how my ex-husband abused me. Like, why would she do this to me? And I'm like, I hear you. It's awful. And we can commiserate. And she luckily has a therapist to go through this with, but we have to put it aside, put the emotional stuff aside. She's not advocating for you. You see that? You felt it in your gut for months. Your best friend told you about it for months. Now we have to make some hard choices because this attorney is taking advantage of you financially on top of other things, and you don't trust this attorney. If you don't trust this attorney and they're actually in opposition to you, then it's time to consider it, especially if you yourself are an attorney. You are trained to do this, and now it's a matter of getting you the confidence to be able to get there, and luckily we are at that point. But it is really sad to think, why do I have to advocate for myself with my own attorney? Why am I butting heads with my own attorney? Why isn't my attorney looking for my own best interest, especially financially, when this is so important? But it happens. It happens. And if you feel like that's what's going on in your case, you need to pause and step back and really think about it and talk to some trusted people who love you and decide if this is the right path to keep going. But I'm so glad, Tracy, that you're also echoing how important it is to advocate for yourself in your own case. We do something called helping people take strategic oversight of their case, and saying no one cares as much as you do. And the only people that have to deal with the consequences are you and your kids. So if you just go along with what someone else says, they're moving on to the next case. Like, that's it. And people get fatigued by cases like ours. And to keep that in mind.
Many attorneys are going to say, oh, that's never going to happen, or this is how it's going to shake out. And they're trying to get through your case quickly. They've got a ton of cases on their desk. And so they're going to tell you, this is how this is going to work. And they kind of expect you to just accept that and move on. And then they can deal with the next issue on the next case. When people are having a problem with their attorney or with feeling like they're being pushed, I always say what's really important is when they say a thing, you're never going to get alimony. The most important thing to do is say, can you explain to me why that's the case?
Mm.
Right? It's about asking questions and not being confrontational necessarily, but coming from a place of, I need to understand. I respect that that's the answer. I need to understand why so that I can process this.
Yeah.
And when people aren't good at asking those questions or advocating for themselves, I always say that's when a divorce coach can be really helpful. Or like you said, a trusted friend. Do you have a trusted friend who's, pretty on top of things, who might be able to come to meetings with you with your attorney? They might think of questions you didn't think of.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because obviously Chris and I are high conflict divorce coaches and strategists, and we welcome our clients to bring someone to the meetings, and we meet on Zoom, so it's not like we're physically in the same place. We say you don't have to pay extra because these are the people who are going to help support you through this. So sometimes they'll have a family member, a new partner, or even their divorce attorney gets on the meeting, and we all as a team figure out what we can do to keep moving this forward.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, ours are the really hard, complex, long drawn out cases. So I think they do require a team approach. But anyway, we were talking about any other mistakes that people make regarding divorce and money in particular. So certainly don't settle out of desperation, but anything else?
Yeah. Giving up your rights to certain assets. So what happens a lot of times is he says, I can have the house if I don't touch his retirement account.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do the numbers on that, it's probably a bad deal if that's what he's offering. Also, not only is it probably financially, he's getting a greater value when you're doing that split. The other thing is people want to keep the house. There's an emotional attachment there. There's a desire to keep the kids in the environment they've been growing up in and things like that. But there sometimes is not a lot of thought around, I'm keeping this asset, but it's also going to cost me a lot on an ongoing basis.
Mm-hmm.
There's maintenance, there's upkeep, there's property taxes. There's a lot of money that's going to flow out if I keep the house. And it might be a much more costly decision than you think about. So really carefully considering those types of offers and not just automatically agreeing to give up certain things. And certainly, okay, here's a related one, not giving up child support and alimony. He says if I agree to not take child support, then he'll give me the thing. Guess what? State law says you get child support. That is for the care of your children. It is to help put a roof over the head, feed them, etc. Giving up child support altogether or taking less than the state says you're allowed to take is a really, really bad idea.
Yeah. And that is one of the most common things we see with a number of our clients. And here's the problem. They'll give up child support in the beginning, and then their ex will take them back to court for a modification. And the ex will say, you can have more time with the kids, but I don't want to pay child support. They agree because all they care about, and they're so emotional, is like, yes, I want to keep the kids. I want to take care of the kids. They give it up, and then a year and a half later, their ex goes for 50-50, and gets it because most states gravitate towards 50-50 without, documented abuse, et cetera, all that. And so they've given up the financials and they still don't have the benefit that they signed up for.
Right.
All the time.
There's lots of issues, aren't there?
I know. Speaking of kids, one of our clients asked me to ask you a question about kids and bank accounts. Is there anything that we should know regarding what parents should do during these complex cases with bank accounts to protect the kids' money? I know in a lot of our clients' cases, exes will take money out of the kids' bank accounts and spend it, or take it out of their college accounts and spend it.
Right.
Any ideas on how to handle that?
The best way to protect against that is that you should be in control of that account. So a minor can't have an account solely in their name. They need an adult's name on it as well. And so try to get it where your name is on the account with the child and not your ex's. It's a really sticky area. Because of course your ex is going to say, well, how do I know you're not going to spend the money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is very tricky, but it's a good thing to try. All right, so speaking of that, not just kids and bank accounts, in general, divorce and money, what's some practical, actionable advice on things that people can do? I know in your book you talked about a marriage money timeline.
Oh, right. I do have my clients put together a timeline about money issues. And so big things that happened in your marriage, when someone changed a job, when you bought or sold a house, bought or sold a car, if you can remember when an investment account was open, things like that. We put that together in a timeline. And what I find is that as people are putting that timeline together, all of a sudden they'll think, oh gosh, I forgot a couple of years ago we borrowed money from my in-laws to do something. That should go on the list. And there might be important things that you'll generally just start to remember as you go along. And that timeline is really helpful for a couple of reasons. Number one, you might remember things that could point to an account you forgot about. So one of the most common things I see is people remembering, oh, wait a second, he switched jobs 5 years ago. Wait, what happened to the retirement account at that old job, right?
Mm.
Without doing that timeline, that might be something that they would forget about. So it helps us uncover accounts that we may have forgotten about. And it helps us in the divorce process because all throughout the divorce process, your attorney is going to be asking you, when did this happen? When did that happen? If you've got it laid out on a timeline already with the dates written out, you're not going to make mistakes. It's really common for, someone asks you, when did that happen? You say, oh, that was March of 2022. And then a couple days later, you're like, oh, wait a second. No, that was 2021 in March. But if you have that timeline in front of you, that will avoid those kinds of mistakes.
Oh my gosh, so helpful. So helpful, especially with all the overwhelm of getting things together. A timeline is great. You also talked about the importance of subpoenas.
That's true. So when you're going through this discovery process, you're going to be asking your ex to turn over documents. And what I see happen in so many cases is we give them a list of documents they're supposed to turn over and they don't turn them over. And they've got a deadline passes. So then your attorney reaches out and says, hey, you were supposed to get us those documents. We'll give you another couple weeks, get them to us, and then you still don't have them. And then your attorney sends another letter or email saying, please get them to us. We'll give you another couple weeks. And this process goes on and on and on with this game being played.
And you're
I'm a big
spending
fan.
thousands of dollars on
Yes.
your attorney sending these letters that get nowhere.
Right. So I'm a big fan of ask them once, remind them that the deadline has passed and they have another couple of weeks, and then go straight to subpoena. So if it's bank records, subpoena that. If it's tax records and it's tax returns that your name was on, you don't even need a subpoena. You can go directly to the IRS and get them. But if, any kinds of records that you need, for the most part, you can probably subpoena a lot of them. And I'm a big fan of just going straight to subpoena if they're not complying. Because if you've asked twice and they still haven't complied, what are the odds that they're going to comply? And if they do, they're going to take weeks or months to do it. And I just want us to get going on getting the information that we need.
Yep, love it. So Tracy, this has been part 2 of our interview. Can you tell people about what you're doing in this course and everything else?
Right. In the Divorce Money Guide, we have a number of courses. So we've got some different price ranges of things depending on the kind of help that you need in your divorce. But we just released a new course called Account Statement Investigation. And it is focused on the bank and credit card statements. So when you need to find out what the heck has been happening with our family's money, what are we spending the money on, what has it been spent on, and where is it? This course is going to walk you through all of that. So how do you get the documents you need? How do you organize them and make sure you have all of them? And then what do you look for in them? And when you find something, how do you put that evidence together so that you can present it to your attorney or present it in court to the judge to get your money back? So say you find evidence of $20,000 spent on an affair. How are you going to put that evidence together in a way that helps you actually get your money back in court?
Oh my God, I love it because we're very how much can you do yourself and use your attorney more efficiently, and you are and us are on the same page. let's try to save as much time and energy and money as possible. And so I love that you help people help themselves, like figure out how to do what they can themselves.
That's exactly it. So, you might spend a couple $100 on a course with me, a few $100, but what you stand to get in your divorce because of the knowledge you can have once you're done looking at the statements, finding the types of things that I'm showing you how to find, you can easily get thousands more in your divorce. And so that investment, our clients generally make that back multiple times. So it is an investment. It feels like an expense, but to me, it's more of an investment. So divorcemoneyguide.com is where you can find everything that we have. We've actually got a store page there where you can see anything and everything that we have.
I have this button that I had from my high school English teaching days that says, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much, Tracy. And just for those of you still watching, like Tracy and our big course is coming out later this summer, and Tracy is going to be part of that. And we're going to be doing some other little things that we are brainstorming together. So I'm so glad that that you're doing what you're doing, that we got to meet in real life, and that we have all kinds of ideas to do other things together, because this is super helpful for our clients.
I love collaborating with you. So thank you so much for having me on today. I'm so glad we were able to weather the storm with Instagram's little glitches.
Right.
And hope you have a great week.
Yes, and I'll see you in a few days.
Bye.
Okay, bye.